Gen Z isn't lazy. They aren't unreliable. They are simply exhausted in ways that are hard to see from the outside. And it's not just about how many hours are in their calendar. They are carrying an invisible mental load in a world that never actually turns off. Hello, driven people. Welcome back. This is the space where we protect your peace and learn how to carry the weight of life without letting it break us. If you've been feeling mentally drained, even when your day doesn't look that busy, you are in the right place. Today, I'm explaining why Generation Z is hitting a wall and why burnout today looks very different than it did a decade ago. And even if you're not Gen Z, stay with me because whether you're a stay at home parent, a student, or a professional, what's happening here is an early signal of a culture that is draining all of us. Let's move through this together. The rise of quiet burnout. When people hear the word burnout, they usually imagine a spectacular crash, someone working nonstop, skipping sleep, and running on caffeine until they physically cannot move. But modern burnout is much quieter. It's like living with your brightness turned all the way down. You're physically present in the room, but it takes 10 times the mental energy just to follow a simple conversation or decide what to make for dinner. Have you ever found yourself just staring at a simple text message or grocery list just for 5 minutes and you just can't? This isn't because you aren't smart or capable. It's a sign that your mind is simply crowded. You're dealing with so much background noise from the world around you and so much emotional pressure that there's just no space left for the small things. It's not a lack of intelligence, it's an overflow of effort. I call this quiet burnout because it doesn't always scream. It's a constant low level hum of mental static in the background of your life. It feels like being on, but never actually being powered up. In this state, basically daily responsibilities, things that used to feel easy, they now carry a heavy weight. It's not that you're doing more than previous generations, it's that the cognitive load of modern life is significantly higher. You can also think of this as performance burnout. The exhaustion doesn't coming from working too many hours. It comes from the constant effort of managing your emotions, expectations, and mental noise all at the same time. Let's talk about the emotional weight of holding it all together. One of the biggest reasons we're feeling this exhaustion is something called emotional labor. We often think of work as the task we do, like laundry, studying, or answering emails. But there is a second hidden job we're all doing, managing how we come across to others. Think about the energy it takes to keep your cool when you're frustrated, to sound nice in a text when you're actually drained, or to stay calm and patient with your kids or a difficult person when you're overwhelmed inside. Whether you're managing a household or a team at work, you are constantly expected to control your tone and handle everyone else's feelings, but nobody gives us a manual on how to do that without draining ourselves dry. Every conversation or interaction starts to feel heavy because you aren't just doing a task, you're managing a whole set of emotions while you do it. This is why you can have a day where you didn't do much on paper, but you feel like you ran a marathon mentally. It's because that invisible effort of holding yourself together is actually the most exhausting work there is. Availability without boundaries. It used to be that when you finished a task, whether it was a shift at work, a school assignment, or putting the kids to bed, you were done. But today, productivity has turned into constant availability. Think of your mind as having an invisible door that is always open. Whether it's a work email, a group chat about a student project, or a notification from a family member, someone is always knocking. Because we feel the pressure to respond quickly to everyone, our brain never gets to fully power down. Even when you are finally sitting on the couch or trying to enjoy a meal, a part of your mind is still on call. This constant low level pressure leads to something called decision fatigue. It's why, at the end of the day, even a tiny question like, "What do you want for dinner?" can feel like a massive heavy weight because your brain has already made 1,000 micro decisions. You might be doing less physical work than someone from a previous generation, but your cognitive load, which is the amount of mental space your life takes up, is much higher. You aren't tired because you're lazy. You're tired because your mind hasn't had a moment of true silence all day. There's no more room left in your head. Let's talk about the comparison trap. Gen Z is the first generation to build their entire lives while constantly watching everyone else's highlight reel in real time. Whether you're a stay at home parent seeing perfect playrooms, a student seeing someone else's 4.0 GPA, or an employee seeing a peer's promotion, this pressure is everywhere. This constant stream of information creates a background noise of evaluation. Even when you are resting, your brain is subconsciously asking, "Am I doing enough? Am I falling behind? Should I be doing what they're doing?" True rest requires your brain to feel safe and settled, but when you are always comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's polished front, your brain stays in a state of high alert. This is why burnout for this generation is less about working too many hours and more about emotional overload. It's the exhaustion of trying to define who you are while the world is constantly shouting examples of who you could be. You aren't failing because you feel tired. You're simply exhausted from the mental effort of trying to ignore all that noise. Before we look at how to shift this, I want to ask you, what drains you more right now? The actual task you have to do, or the emotional labor it takes to keep it all together while doing them? Let me know in the comments. Gen Z isn't weaker. They are operating in a louder, faster environment without the systems needed to protect their energy. Honestly, some baby boomers, many millennials, and Generation X are feeling the same pressure now, too. This isn't a generational flaw, it's an early signal of how our current culture is failing us all. Now, if you recognize yourself in this, start with these three small shifts. Number one, acknowledge the invisible work. So, throughout the day, just take a second to notice when you are doing extra emotional work. If you just spent 20 minutes calming down a toddler, or an hour carefully phrasing an email to a difficult boss, say to yourself, "That was heavy, and it's okay that I'm tired now." Shift number two, choose one boundary. So create just one boundary around your availability. Maybe it's putting your phone in another room during dinner or not checking messages for the first 30 minutes of your day. Give your brain one safe zone where nobody can reach you. And shift number three, this is your energy audit. At the end of the day, ask yourself one question. What was the loudest part of my day? Was it the physical chores or was it the mental noise? Understanding where your battery is actually draining helps you protect it tomorrow. Now, if you've been wondering why you feel exhausted even when life looks normal on the outside, it isn't a lack of motivation. It's modern burnout showing up in ways people don't expect. To figure out if what you're feeling is burnout or just temporary stress, watch this video, 7 Signs You're Not Lazy, You're Burnt Out, next. Until next time, keep growing gently. My dear driven friends, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.